It had a couple things that was in the beginning, which is in the description on chart 44, and from Treta Yuga to Dwarpa Yuga.
Yeah.
And then now, if we're looking at from Dwarpa Yuga to Kali Yuga, is it so? These are, you say, people, real life people who had positions or authorities or something?
The real life people are the entities here, 378 forms. You will know it from Dasarat. Dasarat married 360, have 350 wives. Okay?
Right.
Now, what it meant, he had 350 members. They are constructing an entity. The entity now is Brahma.
Like a ministry, you could call
Yeah. A company. Easier way is a company. They're making a company.
Right.
And now they're appointing people into positions. Or if it's a government, you're appointing ministers into the government. So this is exactly what is happening. And now the challenge is to travel to 14,000 years. So they create 4 yugas, or 4 timelines, or 4 ages they refer to it. So these are the four timelines you have there. And what you have now, from the 378 forms, the major people to understand there are the 5 gods. Right. Now these 5 gods now is transferred now. They transfer the ministry to live people and objects. Now in the case of the Agni, no, Agni is Kaiki. Kaiki, there's supposed to be an I there. Kaiki. Now that they transfer that appointment, as I mentioned there, to Ram. Ram now becomes the god of sun. God of fire from sun.
Right.
He's God of fire from sun, that means time.
Right.
So he is traveling with time to come down. So the same thing with Sumitra, Kausalya, and Saraswati, because it's 3 women from this group here. 1 to 3.
Okay. So then at this point now in Treta Yuga, when you say Dwarpa Yuga is imaginary, they transfer everything, like you say, into a constitution or something like that?
No, these are manuscripts they bring in. Now, remember, they don't construct. Here is real history.
Right.
This whole area. Now, Treta Yuga is just a repeat of Satya Yuga. Right. So, in this area, they already constructed the buildings and are now moving on to construct the book. Now, you have 2 of them.
That's what I mean. So the book is like what we would call a constitution with the rules and the way to behave.
All the laws, everything. Now you have the lie coming in there too.
Right. And
Which
this is at the same point that they correlate the Bible.
Same thing.
Where they take the companies and they start to develop a constitution with the rules and everything, but they start to make up the story in between.
That's what they do. So that's how they make the Ramayan or the Bible. Now, all of these characters here now, when they come to Dwapara Yuga, you now enter into what you call the spiritual world. And I explained that in the past, because now that is the Vedi. What the Pandits are using, that is the Vedi now. That is the imaginary world, or the spiritual world, or the lie. So they make up a lot of stories there now, and to bring it into this book. Now you have to find the truth that took place in Satya Yuga and Treta Yuga.
Right.
Because now you have to, because these are all made with metaphors. Almost everything you're reading in there are metaphors. So you have to find out what is it Ram really did from the metaphors, because you have this in your writing now. You don't have that. You understand? So you have the book here. So now you have to take this now to find the actual events that took place. Now the actual events that took place there sounds kind of a far-fetched. It is 12 buildings, stone buildings. These are the 12 stone buildings. I explained them there.
Yeah, like for example, like the 3 pyramids. 3 of the buildings.
These are real buildings. This is not no fiction there. It is there standing.
Yeah.
So what you have there, that is completed before they come there. Now, when they enter here, is all they mix it with a lot of lies. They call that mixing milk with water, I think, or some. And once you get water and milk mixing, it is lie and truth. Milk is truth.
Yeah.
And you have to come and decipher it and take out the truth now.
So, right. So that's my next question was, so then after the point of Ramayan is that you have to decipher it and deconstruct it into different...
You have to. This is what I'm doing here now. Now, there now is where we find now the time. How many of them arrive at 14,000 years?
Right.
Yeah. So whichever chapter you are reading, you will know who completed the 14,000 years. And one of the easiest one for anybody who want to follow it is Aranya Kanda. And this is Sita alone on this journey. That is the manuscript. And you will get 14,000 years. This one I got it exact.
Right.
Most of them you won't get it exact, but you will have an idea who, because you have to know how many forms. Like for instance, let's say Ravana is on a journey, he's 42. Like 20 hands, 10 heads. That's why I say people, they talk about mythology. Mythology is not mythology, science, and 12 demons.
Right. So then now we come to this point here. We talk about in Kali Yuga the different entities. You have 10 cities. You have Sita as the manuscript. You have buildings.
Right. If you're checking it, you have to check it individual.
Right.
So in Aranya Kanda, you will get 14,000 years. If you go to check it, I check it, I get it accurate. 14,000 years. So 14,000 years tell you is only one character was on that journey because they arrive at 14. Now, anytime you get more than 14,000, that means somebody else is included on the journey.
Right.
So you have to find out who it is. Like in this case here, with Ram, Sita, and Lakshman, when you go, you get 42,000. Now, when you divide it by 14, what you get? You get 3 4s, 12, 3 1, like 42,000. So you get, now when you're reading, you will see Ram, Sita, and Lakshman on the journey.
Okay.
You see? And then again, what will confuse people because they have no knowledge on the buildings. Mainly the buildings here. You see, this I explained that east, west, north, south. Each one of those cardinal points refer to 3. Anytime you see that, east, west, north, south, is 3 buildings.
Right.
Now, east is Damascus. West is Egypt. North is Rome. And south is the Arabia. So you have 4 by 3, 12 buildings. And I laid out that very in detail in the last video. You see? So what you have now, you have to find out if you get 56,000 and you're reading. You will know, you will see that giving you the names of the buildings, you know.
Right.
But the names of the buildings is human names. You see? So this is what have everybody puzzled. So what you have now, you have to figure out, and then if you know that Trikuta means the 3 pyramids, you know one time you have to look for another building. And it mentioned and where it is located. So there where we have, so you get in that there right through. The same thing. If people reading, I want them to know they're reading and they're reading about Joseph and the crying and whatnot, how they killed the blood shirt with blood and whatever. This is what is a travel. Okay. They have to read. Now in Genesis I present two parts, right? The others are the whole chapter. You're getting the number of years. So this is the science. People read the science. This is science. This is not no mythology.
Right.
You understand?
So far, right? In a nutshell, because we have a couple of minutes remaining.
Yeah.
What is the whole 14,000 year journey supposed to describe? Like, what is the point of the
journey?
The whole.
No, well, you see it covering the literal history.
History.
Yeah, the history, the literal history, and most of the times. The Satya Yuga and Treta Yuga is approximately 12,000 years.
Right.
So the next 2,000 years is the book traveling. When you form the book, it's the book traveling. Right. So you have the book up till now, the Ramayan is traveling.
Oh, okay. So it's still in the storybook timeline.
Yeah, but remember this is a book traveling and it's not a real person out here.
Yeah.
This is his history that he present where he constructed the buildings.
So according to what they say, according to the timeline, you have 2,000 years still to come.
Yeah.
That the people still will be confused with the storybook.
Yeah, but this is what is happening because the pundits and them now are only reading this part.
Yeah.
You see, the Hanuman gone and you take a mountain and fly with a mountain. This is what it is here. That is it. That is not mythology, science to find out what is the plant. The two plants they're referring to are the four Vedas and the Puranas.
Yeah.
You see. So what you have there now, that is what they take now. Who gone for? This is Lakshman now. This is what they take, and then you have Sita with the actual history, because Ravana kidnapped Sita. Ravana is the buildings, 12 buildings.
Right. So it's
so the
manuscript.
The manuscript for the 12 buildings. This is what it means. So that manuscript and the other manuscript, the books that was already written, is two of them combined to make the book.
Right. So because everything goes back to zero when it reaches 14,000 years, that is what they say history repeats itself in a way?
No, but they say, what do you call it? The cycle of birth and death continues.
Right.
This is what it says. This is what I tell you, the amount of births and death is all they're doing is checking the numerals. You know. Now this Lakshman now, I explain the verses and things that give it, where he left Ram.
Right.
Ram was upset. He left Ram. Ram now is in the book, in the Ramayan book. And the Ramayan book going back to, I didn't show it here. It's going back to
zero.
No. It's going back to heaven. In other words, but they call that, it's good to make that question there. There is now what we call the two Purusas. They have two Purusas. One, the 18 forms is one Purusa, and the 360 forms is the other Purusa. So the Bhagavad Gita make reference to the two Purusas. So the 18 forms are referred to as imperishable.
Right.
It cannot die. But this 360 forms will die. In other words, when it reaches up to the 12th heaven there, back, it dissolves. And it come back, they bring the 378 forms and form the front arm. So that dies out. But the 18 forms must remain. This is what they say, the spirit leave the body. After you die, this must remain to come back to start to construct a new book.
Okay.
So this I've been explaining it, but it is not, you have to really study it, because there now the Prakti and Purusa, and you go to the Bhagavad Gita, they talk about two Purusas. Nobody knows what two Purusas mean. They don't even know what Purusa is. And in the Bible now, these Prakti and Purusa now are the two horns that was created from the first beast. This become our second beast here. So it is nothing there. Everything that mentioned, these Hindu writers who wrote this, they don't have anybody to write that again, you know. The Hindus themselves, who supposed to know them books, have no knowledge of it.
Yeah.
You see, and it has no man, because they cannot analyze these scriptures, because this now you have to know is literal history, and it's 12 heavens. Now that 12 heavens is the 12 buildings. As a matter of fact, they make a statement there that the demon torture in the sun and torture in the moon. They have that in the Bhagavad, the Ramayan.
Yeah.
What does it mean? You see, all these you have to take to understand what it means. What it means, the building blocking the sunlight. Them tall buildings blocking sunlight. The torture in the sun, the torture in the moon.
Okay.
So you have it there, they're telling you it's buildings.
Yeah.
But people can't seem to understand that now. And they're talking about Ram killed the 12 demons. Anytime he shoot an arrow, is a building he construct, you know.
All right.
And what he do, every building he construct is a demon. A building is a demon. And for him, for him to get rid of the demon, he has to impose his name, Ram. That is mentioned in the last video. And cast out the demon.
Yeah.
So his name now become, his name, Ram, becomes the building now.
All right.
You see? So this is all these things. That's why I said it's saying two princes, one dark and one fair. The dark is the building, and the fair is the manuscript.
Yeah.
So they have you see, these entities presented in these scriptures, you have to do a lot of research to find what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And if you're reading Bible alone, you can't know anything. You understand? If you're reading Ramayan, and if you did not have knowledge, you will be lost. Alice in Wonderland. Every one of them, I could tell them is Alice in Wonderland. They have no knowledge what they're reading. They're reading and they don't know what they're reading. You have to get the identity of these metaphors. Each one of them entities there, of the 7 entities, 7 horns. You have to find out who it is, what it is. You see? And you have to find out how we get the 307, because that 378 forms must come down to 14,000 years. You see, the first thing, even the authors of this I refer to, they don't know what they're writing. They write from the original source. They put 4.32 billion years. Can they explain how they get 4.32 billion years in the 4 yugas? 4 yugas is just 4 separation of 14,000 years. That is also, and they mention in it that right through, I don't know. The same thing with the Bible. These writers writing from this Bible, I said it on many occasions, they have no knowledge what they're writing. Because they're copying from a source and they don't have the knowledge what all these entities mean. Yeah. And throughout, this was my research right through, nobody seemed to even get a handle on its simplest thing. You understand? Yes. So it's very difficult because they're reading, and they continue reading, and have no knowledge what they're reading. I can tell that to every pundit and all them scholars, same thing. Because you have the time in your book. You can go and pick and start, and when you reach 14,000 years, you find out who do that travel there. From the same book. You understand?
Okay.
And you continue again another 14,000 years, and you continue. So you could know at what time you are there. You understand? Because they're giving you the time, you know. But sometimes I see pundits make the statement 13,000 years, 14,000 years. 14, they have the time of this journey. That is the journey. And the journey, you ask a pundit, yeah, we living in Kali Yuga. Ask any pundit. How you living in Kali Yuga? Kali Yuga expired in 500 C. I made an explanation of the time. How to be the signpost, how you must, or where you must put this 14,000 years. Otherwise, you will be lost. You have to have time, otherwise you're just telling a story.
Yeah.
You understand? You're just telling a story. I don't know why they don't leave that for historians and let them. They have many things like Praveen Mohan and William and Dalrymple. Get them excerpts and put it there and let them sing me bhajan. Sing them nice bhajan. I refute it. Real nice. But your history is very clumsy. Extremely clumsy.
Okay.
Yeah. So they need to pull up on themselves to really explain. If Hindus want to know, and I don't understand that. We have done everything for this world. And you know you can't find the history. Nobody seems to have any knowledge. Even up to yesterday, I've seen it on the television and I've seen it on the internet. You have these stone buildings in India there. If you see the works on them thing, nobody had that knowledge. These people were cannibals, you know. These Christians and Muslims were cannibals, you know. They did not know anything, you know. You give them everything, you teach them how to build a house, they come and they mash you up.
Yeah.
Because the Hindus were not prepared for that. They're not looking out for that. You understand? And converting you now. This is what they do. Converting you to them, and they don't understand the book. And the stupid follower following. So that's why I say a believer is a fool. And it's written in Ramayan. It's written in many places in the Bible. It's written.
Yeah.
You understand?
All right. Well, we went a little bit over, but the conversation is always.
Okay.
You know.
Well, all right. Part. Well, any question or anything are ready to answer anything.
Yeah.
All right.
So
we could close there with that.
Yeah. So we'd like to thank the audience for joining us. I'm Mr. Lalchan Rampasad. His number is on the screen. Mm-hmm. Any questions that anyone has, or who want to know more, they can visit his YouTube channel. Has these videos available.
Yeah.
The YouTube channel is what?
The Great Bible Fraud.
The Great Bible Fraud.
By Lalchan Rampasad.
And we have his number on the screen, and he's always willing to have discussions with people about the topic.
Anybody.
So not only pundits and priests and any anybody who wants to know. So please contact him, and we'll thank you for joining us on Sankhya TV.
Thanks.